Oh, here we go.
We cut all that
All right.
conversation.
Here we go. Welcome our next guest. The man, the myth, the legend, Zane Navertil.
Glenn Lucy said that you have beautiful eyes on the commentary.
Did he really?
I don't see it.
He did?
He did. Yeah, he did.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, Hayden said that to me once, too.
You do have long eyelashes.
It's not bad. I've been asked a lot in my life if I use mascara. Truly.
Do you?
I don't, but... Or if I curl them.
Somebody expose him.
Yeah, I mean, if I did...
You do a lot of exposing of other people. Somebody's got to expose
They
you.
should.
Expose Jimmy.
They should, honestly.
Give it to Sauce.
Listen,
He'll
I've got
expose
plenty
him.
of skeletons in my closet, just like everybody else. So Zane, you are obviously a professional player, one of the OGs of the sport, I feel like. You've had a lot of success, especially in MLP, at least a lot of wins. Maybe not individually, but a lot of wins.
There's no I in team,
There's
bro.
no I in team, but there is a me.
There's an I in win, though.
Okay, true. And then you have your own podcast, the Pickle Pod, that you do with Thomas Shields. So, I mean, you're all over the pickleball space. So there's a couple hot topics lately in pickleball, and we want to discuss them. We got Tyler, we got you. So let's maybe I can moderate a little bit, a little impromptu.
Sure.
So let's first talk.
Hey, real quick, no singles today. How come?
There was just an issue with registration. So I was actually here intending to play singles. I was really excited to play. I'm probably going to do a little bit of a singles comeback
let's go.
for some of the progressive draws. But
Okay.
yeah, so just did some commentary instead and had fun doing that.
Is it because PPA can't get their shit together?
That is not what I said.
Oh, okay.
Are you
I was
still
just
waiting on
curious.
that check?
No. So actually, I've been talking to. I talked to Connor. I talked to Bryce, and I told them over the last couple of weeks, like I'm a hypocrite if I don't give credit where credit is due. So, I had plenty of critiques for the PPA around this time last year, right?
Yeah.
And critiques at that time that I felt were valid, but I've had zero issues with
Zane's been
payment.
bought.
I am now just a shill for Big Pickle.
Do you feel like literally, it feels like PPA is listened. And they've made
Legitimately, yeah.
improvements other than these shitty courts today, but they've listened and they've made improvements. And it's gotten better, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of my critiques have been addressed from last year.
What critiques do you still have?
I mean, now it's more nitpicky stuff. Like, yeah, we're here, we're playing on pickle roll courts in a convention center. The courts aren't great, but like, look, 5 years ago, if Connor came up to you and said, "I'll pay you whatever X amount of dollars that you're getting to be here," but you have to play on pickle roll courts, you'd be like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing what we can. I think players complain about the courts, and yes, they're absolutely far from perfect. This is probably some of the worst courts I've played on. However, we've got it. We're getting paid to be here. We're in a great spot. We're in downtown Salt Lake City. The courts suck for everybody. Let's suck it up and get paid to play pickleball.
Yeah.
So
So no emails from you after this week?
there's still a lot of time this weekend.
You like Salt Lake? Have you been to Salt Lake?
I do like Salt Lake. Yeah, I do like Salt Lake.
Like, is it better coming here as opposed to going all the way up to like Brigham City for TOC?
just it's easier to get
It's
to.
easier, right?
But
This is what, like 5 minutes away from the airport? 10
Yeah,
minutes?
I mean, it's very
Yeah.
close to the airport. Yeah.
it's pretty. I mean, like, what other tournaments do we even have that are in an actual downtown? Too,
Yeah, like it's
right?
that's what I was trying to tell people. Like, this is downtown. Like, it's not like they're not saying Salt Lake and then it's 20 minutes away, right, or 10 minutes outside. We are downtown Salt Lake. We have the Delta Center right here. You've got, I mean, it's right in the heart of downtown. So,
Do you remember? I don't know if you were there. It was APP had a tournament, an indoor tournament, and there was like a fuzzy convention going on.
Yeah.
Were you there?
I wasn't.
the
That
furry
was
convention,
the
right?
furries. That was last year in Chicago.
Chicago, yeah.
How incredible
Yeah.
was that?
That's epic.
Just see all those furry animals
and,
walking around.
Shelby Bates sent me some pictures, and I think she took a picture with every single furry, every single one of them.
That's
Yeah.
epic.
All right, back to the debate. All right, so
Okay, so
what
Zane,
topics?
you have obviously made a killing on the spin serve, the Zane saw. I mean, you literally, could have patented that thing. If Conor Garganett can patent Tui Nation, right, you could have patented the Zane saw. And you made a killing on it. You were the best of the best at it. I would say that you had the best serve in the game when that was allowed, the spin serve. right? Now that's kind of gone away, and now there's a lot of topics and hot debate about the serve being weaponized again because of essentially the contact point, right? Mm-hmm. What's your take on the serve? Is the serve not meant to be weaponized, or you think that pickleball is a rally sport? Like, give us your take on it first.
Yeah, so I mean, my take is, I think every element of every sport is weaponized within the rules, and you make rules to basically nerf certain things or
He's a gamer.
encourage
He just
certain
used
things.
nerf. He's a gamer.
So like, look, NBA got a little bit too stagnant, and people were just packing the defense, so they created a 3-point line, right? Like, there are constant adjustments to sport, but within the rules, I think it's foolish to even think that something's not going to be weaponized to its fullest extent.
It's fair. I mean, athletes, right, are getting, pickleball is getting better and better athletes. And so these athletes are going to come up with ways, right, to get better at serving, to hit the ball harder, to even without the technology, there's still going to be, the game is still different than it was when Tyler started, 7-8 years ago. You've been playing for how long?
I've been playing longer than Tyler.
Yeah. So
I started in 2013.
Yeah. So the game is different from when you guys started, right? Tyler, on the other hand, feels like it is give us your take.
So I was talking to Zane last tournament. We actually are aligned quite a bit on the serving rule. Essentially, I'm fine with the serve being weaponized, if you want to call it that. But I think there's a lot of players, especially now, who cross that line and they're just not getting called for it. I don't mind if people weaponize the serve, even though that's not how the game was intended. And I like to keep things in its
like the example
original.
you point out is Ignatowicz.
Ignatowicz, he has by far the hardest serve at this moment, and people are not complaining about his serve. They're complaining about other people's serves.
Because he does it within the rules?
Exactly.
So you think it's more of a contact point enforcement thing? And I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I think we're in complete agreement. Yeah. All three elements of the service rule are unenforceable. The contact point.
Well, they are enforceable, but they're not being enforced at this moment.
I don't think it's such a gray area that you can't really see any of the
Should
three
you have
things
to wear a line
in real time
across your shirt?
I think that's ridiculous.
Crop top.
But here's a solution to that. So obviously there's the drop serve solution, but what I'm voting for is right now a referee needs to be 100% certain that a serve is illegal in order to call it illegal, right? I think that we need to change the standard there from 100% certain to more likely than not. So if a referee is 51% certain that a serve is illegal, they should be allowed to call it instead of having to wait for an egregious serve to call.
Yeah, I would agree.
And that you think that will get the player crack down on the players even flirting with the line?
I think it would certainly help, right?
Yeah.
Like if a serve looks illegal, like they should be able to call it. Now that would take, I think, a lot of training and a lot of film and a lot of sitting with Don Stanley and showing these different refs and like going through different serves. But like right now, just the fact that you have to be 100% certain to call a fault is meaning that 0 faults are being called.
Yeah. I mean, when's the last time you've seen a service fault called? It's been a minute, right?
I think I got one on me when I was spin surfing a Christian house.
But you didn't get one.
I got away with 2 of them.
You got away with 2.
No, you know what it was?
That was Red Rock, right?
I didn't. I got away with both of them in that match. But Onisha called me on one when I was playing against PK.
See, Onisha's got it. She's got eagle eyes.
Yeah, she's on it. She's on it.
Okay.
So that was a pretty lame debate. That's where I'm at. I just think it needs to be enforced more.
So is that the solution, Zane? You feel like the solution is, if more likely than not, that they are essentially serving too high or from the contact points too high, they should call it.
I think it's just the standard of refereeing should be different.
Tricky line though, just because it might not be.
It is, but it's always going to be a tricky line, right?
If you're going to stick with the current rules, that's going to be a tricky line.
What if you use that logic for calling lines? So it's more likely in than out.
In a challenge, it should be. I think
some of the pro players do use that logic.
So the players shouldn't, but when you're challenging a call and there's not a great replay system, I think the call on the court should be irrelevant, right? I clearly have a vested interest. MLP flirted with that idea last year of the call. You make an out call, I challenge you. Yeah. The call that is on the court should be irrelevant when we're looking at a replay system.
Yes.
because you're not a referee. You have your own vested interest. In other sports, when an umpire says safe, they need irrefutable evidence to change it, because the ref is an impartial
because
third
the ref
party.
has made that call.
You're not, right?
Yep.
So
that's fair. Like in the NFL, it's irrefutable video evidence. But like you said, you were overturning a referee, not a player.
Exactly.
A player's not saying, "Hey, he held me," and then your video watching the
Yeah. So I think if we're, I honestly prefer rules that are actually enforceable. I'm a big I think we should go to the drop serve. It's the only enforceable rule that I can think of.
You posted a video of you hitting the drop serve.
Yeah, what is the main argument against the drop serve? Is that it looks unprofessional. That's
the pickleball is going to become
argument.
less athletic.
Is it that pickleball is going to become less athletic or
less
look
athletic?
less athletic?
Well, I don't get it. Look at Padel. I mean, they do a drop serve. I don't buy that.
That it's going to
logic.
look less athletic.
Yeah. There's a lot of sports that
it already gets a bad rap, that it's for old people, that it's not good for TV viewing, all those things.
Yeah, I don't buy that argument whatsoever. Like, people are making the argument that it's going to look bad before they've ever even seen somebody do it.
Yeah.
You know, I posted an X video of hitting a drop serve.
X, not
So I think so we talked about this once again, but that 4-foot service line that they were testing out at the last tournament, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I hate that with a passion. So here's the thing. It doesn't... Yes, it would nerf the serve, but it does nothing to deal with the enforceability issue, right? It does not address contact
and you actually
point.
made a good point, is you said actually that would be putting the serve at a huge disadvantage, because you're shortening the serve, and so players will have a much more advantage now.
Yeah, so essentially, like, none of these things are able to be done in a vacuum. There's always a balance, right? And so the main argument for the 4 feet thing is that some of the times we're playing on courts that don't have enough space behind the court, which is absolutely certain, that's 100% true.
Yeah.
The server is already at a disadvantage, but if they're able to hit the ball onto the line, like, the returner doesn't have space to take a full swing.
Yeah.
But instead, we're shifting the problem from the returner back to the server.
Should you have to stay in the service box and count to 5 Mississippi?
I like some of those proposals.
I like the lobs, no lobbing,
no lobbing.
doing
Before
these,
you can leave the service box, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Yeah, that would be a good rule.
So, yeah, I mean, like, I think the 4-foot rule would certainly nerf the serve, but I think it would throw us way out of balance. I think we'd be down to, MLP, we had about 42.5% of service points won.
Yeah.
I think if you had to serve into the first 3 feet, or the first, whatever that would be, 18 feet of the court, you would throw it out of balance.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be hardly winning any.
Yeah.
And I think a big reason why players are weaponizing the serve more, or trying to go after them, is because fourth shots have gotten so good. You used to be able to blast your third and get winner errors off of your third shot. So did I, right? Everybody's handling drives now, and everybody's able to hit.
Not everyone.
Really, most players, right?
Everyone but Julian.
No comment on that. But, like, our fourth shots are getting better. It's harder than it ever has been to get to the kitchen.
Yeah. I mean, the game has evolved, right? Like, it's crazy how much it's evolved. I mean, Christian Alshon, just as an example, he's like an athletic freak. Like, he's fast. He hits the shit out of the ball, right? Gets to the kitchen. I mean, it's different from the old cat and mouse. I mean, QD, right? That dude he plays a different style of pickleball almost, in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's definitely evolving. And like you said, you used to be able to get errors off of those, and now it's coming back at you just as hard as you're hitting it, right?
Thoughts on paddles?
Yeah, I mean, I think the paddles are a serious problem. I think a lot of this serve conversation is exacerbated by the issue with the paddles, because Tyson's making contact at the same point he always has, with the exception of the 6 months where we had the below the waist rule.
Yeah.
Like, the high contact point is not a new problem. It's new with these paddles that are hitting harder and spinnier. So it's just more of an issue to try and return them.
I would be curious, and I don't know, and this could be way off base, but I would be curious to see Yola players' win percentages since the new paddles have been released.
2023 versus 2024.
Yeah,
Oh, that'd be some interesting stats.
That'd be interesting stats. I would be curious,
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, obviously, like Brooke Buckner would be hard to quantify because she was out having a baby, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, she's won back-to-back singles events. Like, now that she's not, and I'm not saying that any of these guys aren't great players, but it does seem like in pickleball, above all other sports, the technology helps. The paddles help.
Yeah, especially in the summer stretch, right? Like in Salt Lake City, or for the PPA, I don't think we saw as big of a difference because it's tough to keep some of those shots in. Everybody can kind of generate enough power in fast conditions. When it's 100 degrees outside and humid, like those paddles have even more of a difference.
Yeah,
I can swing as hard as I possibly can and not get nearly the same amount of power as somebody doing just a quick swing.
Last question. Rally scoring or traditional scoring?
I mean, I personally like rally scoring.
Do you think there's a massive difference? Does rally scoring favor the underdog?
I mean, statistically in MLP, no, not particularly, but I think MLP also, like, you just have a little bit shorter of a match. So does it favor the underdog?
And Callan Dawson is so handsome. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm supposed to continue my train of thought when Callan's walking by.
Callan Dawson walks by. It's like, please hold.
I like it just for the purposes of, like, I think at the end of the day we want this. We're playing pro pickleball because it's going to be a TV product, right?
Yeah.
Our league's financial stability is based on an eventual big TV contract. I think rally scoring lets you know within a much smaller margin of error how long a game is going to be as opposed to traditional scoring. And I think that's the main thing. I see merits in both of them. I personally prefer rally, and I think rally is better for TV.
Tyler?
I like rally for MLP, and I like traditional for the outside tournaments.
But you feel like when there's rally scoring,
I think it favors the underdog significantly.
But do you think it favors the underdog because of rally or because it's one game?
Both.
If you did rally scoring 2 out of 3, do you think it would have the same effect?
I think there would still be a lot more upsets with rally scoring than traditional scoring.
Do you think that's because of the basically, like, you have to win on serve, giving the people the ability to come back, or the fact that you are basically going, it effectively shortens the length of a match, right? Where you have, if you had 10 side outs in a row, in PPA it's 0-0, in MLP
so the example
it's
that
10-10.
I like, that I used with Tim Parks when I was talking with him, is I said, if you had to put money on a match, if this team was playing the Johns brothers, doesn't matter who, would you rather than play rally scoring or traditional scoring? If you were voting or putting money on the underdog.
Yeah, whatever. I'd rather play them in MLP, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Well, you're not going to get any
other
effort.
factors there.
Factors, let's get that MLP effort, and I'm going on the underdog all day long. Right? Like,
So that was the example I used, and I think it's valid. I mean, everyone says there's not that much statistical difference between the two, but if I had to actually put money on it, it would be rally scoring.
Yeah, I mean, I do think a 2 out of 3 PPA match, you're going to have more rallies. If you had an equivalent amount of points played in a rally scoring match versus a PPA match, regardless of what the score is, it's all about the amount of points that you're going to play, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
So rally scoring, if you play to a big enough number.
I just don't like, I mean, it makes it fun for MLP, which is very energetic, everything like that, but I don't know if I love the fact that most matches are artificially close. Almost every single match is within, if you're not within 5 to 7 points, it's almost like a blowout. And winning 25-19 or 25-23, almost every single match is 25-20 something for the most part.
And so, I mean, but like...
And to me, that's not rewarding the effort that these players put in for training.
You want more blowouts?
Sure. I want it to be how it would be. If you win points, you win points. If not, then you don't.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm on the other end of things. Like, I think
but
at least
it
at
makes
this...
it artificially close, which, in my opinion, it shouldn't be that way.
At this stage in the game, I think we have to cater to what makes matches more interesting, right? Like, we have smaller... somewhat shorter matches in MLP as opposed to PPA, and like if you played a traditional scoring game only to 7, it would be closer, right?
Yeah.
Like
so I mean, I've always like almost every single game is within 3 to 5 points, let's say, in MLP. Like, why not just start at 20-20? Because every single game is going to be within 3 to 5 points.
Not those 2 games you guys played.
I don't think that's accurate.
Yeah.
Most games are within 3
Yeah,
to
but
5 points.
okay. Well, then what's the average score of a PPA match? 11-8.
I would say less than that.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know either. Yeah. I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I like what the
Yeah.
I don't know. At this point, I kind of like having both.
I like having both.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
it gives you different variety, different looks.
Yeah.
Like I said, as strong as a supporter I am for traditional scoring, I like MLP rally scoring.
Yeah.
For MLP.
Okay. Last question: indoor or outdoor?
I'm gonna split the baby again. I like both. I mean, I think
If you had 20 tournaments one year, what would the percentage be? 10 indoor, 10 outdoor?
if I had 20 tournaments, yeah, 10 and 10. I think that'd be great. Like,
I think for me, be like 14 and 6.
14 indoor.
14 indoor, 6 outdoor.
Tyler's a big indoor guy.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I like indoor too. Like, I think.
I don't mind outdoor, but there's so many elements you have to play with and you can't control. If the wind's blowing more than 10 miles an hour, which it often does, it's not fun to play with.
It's weird that like tennis is something that's always been played for the most part outdoors, but basketball is never something that's played outdoor,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
basketball, like if you were to shoot the ball and there's a gust of wind,
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
you've got to adjust for it. Like
Yeah.
I wonder why it is that
So the
there's
only thing I'd
racket
say
sports.
with that is most of the Grand Slams nowadays, most of the matches are built in a stadium, so there's
Right.
really not too much wind, and most of them have covers too. So
well,
you're
they
not
do
doing-
get they get a ton of wind in there. They get like the
Yeah.
spiraling effect
Yeah,
in
like-
those huge
yeah.
courts.
If it's windy, if it's like 15 or 20 miles an hour, if it's
Yeah.
not
it gets
that,
that,
high,
like,
then you're getting
It's
chilled.
like a
from it.
whirlwind in
yeah,
there.
you get like the swirling effect.
Yeah.
But also tennis, it's interesting because the ball is quite a bit heavier than the pickleball.
Yeah.
And so I think you can play in probably up to at least 10 miles an hour without it affecting it at all.
Yeah. I wonder if that's why they never did it in basketball. Right? That's
Yeah.
a big question.
Yeah.
I wonder why basketball was never an outside
Yeah.
sport.
Volleyball's indoor.
Sand volleyball is outdoor.
sand-
minus
sand volleyball, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like the team stuff, the college stuff.
Yeah, but I feel like volleyball again. It's kind of heavier. It's, I don't know. It's
I don't know.
interesting.
And then always being outside, being in the sun, the heat. It's a lot.
I do think though the big thing is indoor. Like we would need to slow the ball down for indoor, right? And
Yeah.
indoor, the product doesn't look as good because the conditions are a little bit cooler. The ball bounces higher. There's more speed ups. Like I think
Yeah.
a perfect
But
temperature
wouldn't
to
that
play
be more
pickleball.
entertaining? Like the shorts would
They-
be shorter.
you know, they should-
Not necessarily.
Going
Like
off of what you
I
said
think
about MLP.
They should
that
do
was
like
about
a-
matches being shorter, not necessarily points being shorter.
Yeah, but if the points are shorter, then the match will be shorter.
I think
I'm talking about match
The
in
overall
terms
match?
of like not necessarily points being short, but just a shorter window,
Yeah.
like a shorter score to go to, right?
Yeah.
I think what they should do is they should have like you play indoor and then you could like be like you have I don't even know what to call them, but you get 3 of them a match. And you could like turn on the wind for your opponent. Like here's
Just a
20-mile-per-hour
random-
winds.
We'll
For
do
one-
that in
for one
pros
random-
versus 5-0s.
Yeah,
Outside
pros
factor.
versus 5-0s for
We'll
1
get a
point.
wind tunnel in
Yeah,
there.
the wind, like the big
The
wind tunnel
shadows.
comes in.
He
The
chooses-
shadows. You can choose the shadows. You can choose maybe a little bit of rain.
And this
Yeah.
sounds silly, but I talk to all the AV, the tech guys, the people who do the production, and outdoors is a mess sometimes. Like when it rains, when it's windy and stuff like that. Like if you're doing it indoors, then you can really set up however you want it to be.
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, I mean,
Infrastructure's normally put in place. So
Yeah.
those are my stances.
Yeah.
only
mine
thing is,
outdoor.
Stance
I think we
sucks.
got to slow it down a little bit if we
Yeah.
go indoors.
Maybe
Yeah,
different-
Let's
yeah.
slow
that
the
would-
ball down.
I
That
mean,
makes sense.
If anything, that would come down to the paddles.
Well, I think eventually there'll be like if they're consistently playing indoors, you're gonna, especially like on a surface like this, I think you're gonna see different balls.
Yeah, I mean, the ball is a frontier that like not too many people are doing a ton with. There's been hardly any innovation until recently.
Yeah, exactly. And so maybe there's a ball that's like a little bit bouncier. Or, I mean, remember you guys used to play on the gym floors with the freaking orange
Jugs
onyx?
ball.
Yeah,
We
or
had
like
the Jugs ball
the
before
jugs,
that,
The jugs, yeah.
Dude, those
And
were
remember
great.
when the pen came out? Pen came out with the red ones.
Yeah.
I don't remember the pen red
The
ones.
orange ones, like the
Oh, I
yeah,
remember the
Penn
orange
came out
ones.
with these balls, and it was funny because I'm like, we're playing on orange balls on an orange basketball court. It's miserable to pick it up. So
Yeah, I think eventually we regulate this game with the ball and not the paddle.
yeah, I could see that.
Who are your partners this week?
Coop. That's
Koopy,
it.
that's
I was
Koopy.
supposed to play with Riley on Saturday, but I got to go to a funeral, unfortunately.
shoot.
So quick,
wow, sorry.
quick turnaround over
Oh,
here.
that's why Radley's got Frenchie now, huh?
Yeah, he upgraded.
Oh, wow.
He upgraded the chirping. I don't know if he upgraded the gameplay, but
Wow, you don't think I can chirp?
oh, you can chirp. We've heard that too. How do people stay up to date with Zane?
Oh, they don't. I'm not on anything. I don't got to shout myself out. They know me already.
They know
Wow.
Zane. Check it out. Go check out
They know
Zane's pod.
Thomas. They know Thomas.
Yeah, follow Thomas if you want to know what's going on with Zane.
Thanks for having me on. This
Yeah.
is fun to be on.
I thought
king of
our
the court
debate
for the first time.
would have been a little bit more.
No, you guys are too calm. And
yeah.
You guys, it's okay. That was actually good
We actually
information.
agree on most stuff. I
You
think.
guys are both. Yeah, he's an accountant. He's very analytical over
I
there.
think we need to go back to the drop serve, what we had at Masters. Out in front of you, waist high, drop it, do whatever
If you want to talk about something that makes
That's
the sport,
unenforceable too.
Yeah.
That's just as
No,
unenforceable
it's
as
not.
everything
You hold
else.
it at your waist.
Yeah, but
You're
holding it
literally
at your
holding it at
waist.
your waist.
The,
but how
all
do you
the
know they're not
problems-
throwing it down or
Yeah,
like?
exactly.
can't.
But here's the thing: what if you're in a squat position and you
Tell
like
him you can't
raise
squat.
up?
Who's the one who squats?
Tyson.
Tyson's the only one that I know that squats.
All right, so there's just a bunch of issues on it. Like where is the top of the hip? It's the
Yeah.
same thing as the waist. Like
they hold it down at a 45-degree angle and then drop.
If you
But
want
if
to
we're
make the
doing that,
game look
then-
more sissy, then do
yeah,
that.
if we're doing that, why don't we use the drop serve?
then use the drop
You
serve.
could
yeah.
use the drop serve.
But the drop serve is
it's legal.
legal.
Yeah, you could still use
you
it right
can't
now.
use the drop serve in pro play. You can use the drop serve anywhere
in
else.
rec play. Yeah,
I thought you could.
No, you can't.
Not
When did
pro
they get
play.
rid of it?
It's never been available for use
It's
in
just
PPA.
always been rec
No
play.
way.
Yeah, rec play.
Actually, I think you can
What?
do it in APP, but you've never been able to use the drop serve in PPA.
APP, they're the innovators.
How am I learning all these new rules?
He just learned a scoring
Hang around,
system. and-
hang around me. You'll learn a lot of new rules.
Yeah, see, Zane makes them up as he goes
Hey,
along,
how's
just like
married life
MLP.
going?
Married life is solid.
Has anything changed for you? I mean, you guys were together for a decade.
Yeah, we.
Do you start fighting a lot more? I hear that's
Like,
that
have you never had a
happens.
fight and then you got married and now it's like, damn.
No,
No,
I've
we
heard
we
that
had
a
we had
lot.
plenty of arguments, but it's I didn't think anything would feel different, but
Yeah.
it actually does somehow. Somehow we still feel like even slightly more connected.
Because
So
now she's got half that 401k. She's got that alimony.
no comment. But yeah, no, we married life has been awesome.
She doesn't travel too much, right? With you?
She says she comes to the fun ones.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
like she probably comes to one if she can drive, she comes.
Yeah.
Brings the dogs. So she'll be
Yeah.
at Dallas
Okay.
along with Arlo and Murray, the pups.
Yeah.
She'll come to New York. I think she's coming to Vegas and Miami as well.
Nice.
So
Good.
we
The fun
backloaded
ones.
it.
The fun ones.
The fun ones, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on, Zane. Appreciate you.
Thank you, boys. This was fun. Appreciate you.